Next we have some more formulas. So we're going to look at a cylinder and a cone. It's really important to understand the parts of these formulas because we're going to need those later on. The end of this section, we're going to have to put two shapes together. So I might be putting a cone on top of a cylinder, or a hemisphere on top of something, a cone or a cylinder. So it's really important for us to understand the parts of the formulas. That way we know what parts we need to use. So we know the area of a circle is pi r squared. So here is that area of the circle, pi r squared. And a cylinder has two circles, the top and the bottom. So that's where this 2 comes from right here. So these are our circle bases. The 2 pi RH is the area of the rectangle that goes around the middle of a cylinder. And if that's kind of confusing, think about a vegetable can. When you take the label off of a vegetable can and lay it down, it's a rectangle. That's because that's the surface around the middle here. Now with a cylinder, I just need to know the radius and the height. So I told us a radius of 5 and a height of 8. So if I plug that in, 2 pi r is now 5 squared plus 2 pi r h. That's going to give me 130 pi centimeters squared. We do something very similar here with the cone. So a cone, I've got pi r squared plus pi rl. Again, pi r squared is my circle base down here, and pi rl would be the cone part of it here. Just like with pyramids, cones are slanted, so I need to use my lateral height. So that's this outside piece. Notice on this one, I gave you both the lateral height, the height and the lateral height. The height's what comes to the middle. I'm going to use this one. It's going to be used for volume. The lateral height is going to be what's used for my surface area. So when I plug this in, I just need R and L. So I'm going to plug in 3 for R and 5 for my lateral height. Again, not going to use the regular height over here. That's for volume. That's going to give me 24 pi centimeters squared. Now, just be careful when you're doing your homework in my math lab. Sometimes they want you to use exact answers. Exact means leave pi. Pi looks good. We like pi. We want to leave it in there, so you have to use the symbol. If they ask you to round to the nearest whole number, to the nearest tenth, then you're actually going to use the pi button in your calculator to get a decimal and then round accordingly. Again, exact means leave pi. And if it tells you round, then that's when you type in your calculator. Make sure you use the pi button. Do not use 3.14. Now, for the purposes of our class, with if I'm going to have you turn something in and write it out on paper, then I'm going to want you to use pi and leave that in there. I want the exact answers. My math lab will go back and forth. So just make sure and read carefully the directions on what you should be doing.